Yo, let's go and welcome to the video. Today I ventured into Onyxia's lair for a chance at my tier 2 helmet. And of course I'm here to do this completely solo. Pause if you need to, but here was the gear I used. Here are my talents and glyphs. Now let's get into the boss fight. For phase 1, which is from 100% to 65% of the boss's HP, started off with a few wraths, put up fairy fire, popped treants and starfall, got insect swarm up, got into lunar, used my bark skin and hyperspeed, then started pumping out starfires. Oni periodically does a knockback, and this one knocked me into the whelp pit, but instantly teleported me back in front of the boss because of Blizzard's changes that they made to dungeons. I've taken a couple thousand damage, about 25% of my health. Decide it's time to get some hots up and top back off. You might have noticed I'm not tanking the boss with my back up against the wall, and the reason is if I get knocked back, that gets me separated from the boss, hopefully giving me enough time to put up a couple hots and get back into Moonkin form. I just used Innervate so that I have it on cooldown as early as possible because I know I'm going to need to use at least one more Innervate during the fight. The rest of phase 1 is just a matter of using Starfall when it comes off cooldown, popping Barkskin to cast a heal or reduce pushback for an Eclipse phase, and keep on pumping. Before you know it, you'll push Oni to 65% and begin phase 2. Whelps will spawn from both sides of the room, but they only have about 2500 HP each. So if you happen to have a Starfall rolling at this time, it should be enough to help kill off most of them. If not, a Typhoon or even Hurricane will quickly do the job. The fireballs do about 1000 to 1500 damage per hit and aren't very threatening at all. I could have pushed Oni into phase 3 pretty quick by just eating those hits and healing when needed, but I wanted to wait for Innervate to come off cooldown before I made that push. Just to be safe, I popped a mana potion, and that ended up helping me not have to kite for a third Innervate later on. I got a second group of whelps and polished them off no problem. Innervate is almost off cooldown now, so I'm about ready to push phase 3. Flame Breath is also pretty safe to just not even worry about, like the fireballs, and if it hits you, just throw up your hots and you'll be fine. Phase 3. There's lots of time to be able to DPS Oni as she lands, so take advantage of it. The only mechanic to worry about in this final phase is the Bellowing Roar. When I would see the cast for it, I'd try to throw up an Insect Swarm or Moonfire so there's still damage rolling while I'm feared. Other than that, it's just a simple tank and spank until she falls over at 0 HP. It took me about 6 minutes to get her down, and this was my first time even trying the fight solo. I got the achievement, 53 gold, the warrior and mage helms, 2 18-slot backpacks, Oni's head, and the ring of binding. Well, that's it for this one. If you happen to give it a try, good luck. And if you can't seem to get it down, but you have a feral set, here's a video with tips on how to do the fight as a cat or bear from my good friend Griff.